Happy April Fools, everyone! The people's favorite time to troll and act like jesters. A time where you don't know what to believe and expect the unexpected, where everyone enjoys getting pranked and people are totally not getting sick of it whatsoever and totally not expecting it. And everyone, and I mean everyone, has a lovely, fantastic time. Jeez, I sound like Pim back there. Okay, for real now, back to our regular scheduled programming. In the world of celebrated days/holidays, there are reasons behind them being celebrated, whether it be cultural, historical, or religious. There are reasons for those days to have a celebration, with Christmas being the celebration of the birth of Christ, Halloween deriving from an ancient Celtic festival, while people in Ireland, Scotland, and France would dress up in costumes, light bonfires, and offer food to the spirits in order to please them at the end of harvest time, aka beginning of winter at November 1st. Easter celebrating Jesus' resurrection, 4th of July, Hanukkah, Valentine's Day, Ramadan, Lunar New Year, you get the point. All of these holidays have some sort of history behind them and are celebrated for that reason with whatever the occasion is. But my dear viewer, the history of April Fools is still a mystery to this day, with many theories and stories floating around for almost 500 years. No one is still yet to find concrete proof of this day and why it became what it became. One of the most popular and oft-cited stories as the history behind April Fools takes all the way back in the 16th century at the Kingdom of France. I know, cringe, but just stay with me, it will only take a moment. In the mid-1500s, the French government were trying to adopt the Gregorian calendar for their people to use, which is the one most people use today, instead of the Julian one that was known for at the time and used by most people, where instead of celebrating New Year at the end of March and ending on April 1st, New Year will start at January 1st. Within 1582, with the calendar switch being ordered at the time by their king, Charles IX. The news didn't spread fast enough for everyone to get the memo. I guess they didn't check the IG story. Some of them were still celebrating New Year's on April 1st, which to the people who knew about the news started laughing and making fun of them and were subjects to pranks and jokes, mostly involving giving them fake fish and saying Poisson d'Avril, with Poisson translating to fish and the holiday in French being called Poisson d'Avril, which is somewhat of a tradition in France where the April Fool's joke that happened over there have something involved with a fish in their prank/joke, most commonly putting a fish sticker behind someone's back. Like I said in the beginning, this is just a theory, with this theory having some holes in it. First and most importantly, there is no evidence of this happening. It boils down to hearsay, and if you want to believe or not to believe. Well, the first thing I noticed which confused me is that the Julian calendar celebrates New Year on the 14th of January, not April 1st, which a lot of Eastern Orthodox Christian countries still celebrate to this day. But what is most likely the case is that the Roman Christian priests were trying to push this agenda that the year should follow Mary's pregnancy with Jesus. So Jesus' birth, December 25th, rewind the clock 9 months and the year starts on March 25th. But still, in the end, this is just a hearsay. But there are a couple of stories I would still like to mention. The second most interesting story that could be a possible explanation behind April Fools happened in the Roman Empire, with a festival called Hilaria, meant to be a fun and lightful festival for all to enjoy and was seen as a positive experience because it was the mark that ended the cold winter and summer rolling around the corner. Also, the word Hilaria translates to the cheerful ones in Latin, and where the word hilarious comes from. Anyways, the date for the festival was set at March 25th, and it was meant to celebrate the vernal equinox. In layman's terms, it marks the astronomical start of spring in the northern hemisphere, with there being 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of night worldwide. In the Roman times, March 25th was the start of the 8th of the calends of April, with the festival ending at the calends of April being April 1st. But the problem is that the only thing that connected this festival and April Fools was the date. No other evidence provides this story tying to April Fools that we know today. The second story of the Roman times possibly being behind April Fools is that around the time of the Emperor Constantine being in power, the tale goes that the group of jesters was organized to plan to overtake the throne from the emperor, not by killing him or manipulating him, but just straight up asking him to make one of them the king for just a day, with Emperor Constantine jokingly laughed and agreed to it, and decided to give the crown to one of them, with the newly crowned jester, Kugel, ruling over the great Roman Empire for 24 hours, bringing joyful energy and wonderful times all across the Roman regime, thus creating the April Fools we all know and love. And that would be all great and funny if it was actually the truth. See, researching things about April Fools is difficult, because it's hard to see when something is real and when something is not real, because the whole topic is about pranks and hoax, and even this story was the victim of it, as the Boston University professor Joseph Boskin pulled a prank on the Associated Press reporter Fred Bayless with this fake story in 1983. And when the reporter published the news a couple days later, it was later revealed to them that they got pranked. The last theory in revealing the origin of April Fools might be in Chaucer's Nun's Priest Tale in around 1319 era, which shows the rooster Chanticleer being fooled by and in turn fooling a fox. This occurs sin March begun 30 days and 2 or 32 days after March began, i.e. April 1st. But some scholars came to question this theory because of a supposed misspelling of the word begun, and the true date was May 2nd because it will count 32 days after March ended, making this yet another story in many lists of stories of potential origins of this supposed date. I could go on and on about the history of April Fools. Since the origin of it doesn't have a definitive history, many people will come up with their own conclusion and theories to try and take the credit for uncovering the truth of this holiday. And we've seen that these things could happen, like the story from back in '83, so I don't think we'll ever know the true history of April Fools. And honestly, I think that's fine. We live in a world where everything and anything needs to have an answer, and information is so easily accessible that having something that no one knows the true history of is somewhat refreshing. Now I want to talk about the modern day impact of April Fools. Have you ever noticed that as you get older, April Fool's jokes just don't hit? Maybe in today's age, everyone knows that it's April Fool's. I mean, it takes literally 2 seconds to see. And because everyone already expects it, the joke kinda ruins itself. And I don't know about you guys, but pulling pranks and jokes as a kid wasn't seen as a delightful thing. You were just a dick. So even if you did pull pranks only on April 1st, no one would think, oh, you know, it's April Fool's, let him do his thing. It was more like, what a fucking asshole. So by society standards, it kinda made April Fools fall off for me, because no one wanted to be that asshole that pulled pranks. And even if you went a little light and told some lie, like, oh, someone got into a fight or this guy got fired, the immediate response would be, bro, it's April Fools, I know you're teasing me here. So the lies could only work if you're 1000% sure you know that the person doesn't know it's April 1st, which if you don't know is practically impossible until you try. So the fun is kinda ruined. Nowadays, most April Fool's pranks I see are on the media side of things, whether it be TV shows, social media pranks, video games, things of that nature. The most memorable one is when Riot decided to make everyone's characters have a Draven head for a day, or Smiley Friends pulling some stunts on April 1st. I mean, the pilot even aired on that day. You know, shit like that is always welcome, because it feels genuine and brings a funny twist to the medium that you're watching or playing. But on social media is a whole different story. I've seen friendships and relationships ruined over an April Fool's joke, mainly on Twitter, where I opened the app on April Fool's without even knowing that April 1st hit, and the first 3 posts I see is someone along the lines of, I don't trust anyone today. And in my mind, like, what happened? Whoa, did someone happen? Did someone got caught? What happened? Whoa, did your partner cheat? What's going on? And then I realized it's April 1st and the people are overreacting over a post like, oh, John Cena got killed, or a fake pregnancy by a celebrity with somehow no one thinking that it's a prank. Like your phone tells the day, how does it not cross your mind that maybe it's a hoax? Unbelievable. And then a day later, posts are flying by like, April Fool's jokes are cringe, we need to abolish April Fools, blah 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 blah. The motherfuckers who got played on April 1st be like, April Fools kind of falls off the more you grow up, where the people don't even realize it's April 1st and then just move on like it's another day. Which I think it's society that kind of ruined the fun for me. Like I said, pulling pranks and jokes even as a kid was seen as a dick move. And nowadays you only see fake stories and fake posts on April 1st, with a layer of them saying it's a prank. Like they don't spread misinformation almost every day. But that's besides the point. Anyways, that will be it. I think I got everything off my chest. Well, for this topic anyways. I'm Spaceman Dino. Hope you enjoyed.